Madawi Al-Rasheed, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight. In a column for Middle East Eye this week, you said your work to expose the crimes of the Saudi regime led to the hacking attempt on your phone. How did you find out you were targeted, and what was your first thought when you found out?
I always suspected that I would be targeted one day, and I was in 2014, and that was my Twitter account. So I was expecting it, until my phone rang, and I had the Guardian journalist and Amnesty International Security Lab who convinced me that my telephone number was on that 50,000 number list, and would I like to go for this investigation. I hesitated, but they assured me in writing that this is going to be under control. They're going to access my phone and transfer the content of my phone to the lab, and they will only use the data that would give them an indication about whether my phone was hacked. And the process took something like 3 hours, and I was watching my life, the content of my professional and private life, travel virtually to that lab. And when we finished, 3-4 hours later, I got a phone call to say there is evidence that my phone was targeted in April 2019, and fortunately, it wasn't successful.
That's good news. What steps have you taken to secure your phone and other devices since discovering all this? And how worried are you now about your personal safety too today?
Well, since the murder of Khashoggi in October 2018, I did take precautions, and that cost me a lot of money because I couldn't impose my insecurities and vulnerabilities on my institution, the London School of Economics. So I paid for my own security and installed certain software, and I hope they are successful. Since I heard the recent news about me being targeted, again, my institution, the London School of Economics, had been very helpful. I had long chats with their IT department and cybersecurity department, and we are doing our best. But as I was told again and again, that there is no 100% security. They will try again, and we'll see.
I mean, we hope that this kind of journalism will, make them think twice before trying again. But of course, these are the people who, the Saudis anyways, are the people who accused of murdering and butchering Jamal Khashoggi. Friends and family of Jamal have long maintained that he was tracked through his phone. And now reporters for this Pegasus project have confirmed that the cell phones of his partner and several other associates had been hacked with Pegasus spyware. Did that come as a surprise to you?
No, I mean, espionage is as old as governments. What we have at the moment is a completely different situation, whereby espionage and the technology that goes with it are sold in an open market almost, and although they should be treated like the sale of weapons and armaments, unfortunately they're not. And this specific case of the NSO group that is based in Israel is licensed by the Israeli government to sell this to other governments, and the clients are other governments. However, I think the episode, this recent episode, draws our attention to how important it is, even for governments, to reach an agreement about the sale of such malicious technology. Yes. As we have seen, heads of states are being hacked, and there are attempts on their phones, and they are on the list. So governments are doing it against each other, which they have always done. But this is a completely different situation. It is an unregulated market, and people like myself and many, many others who don't have the institutional backing are victims of it.
You mentioned NSO and the Israeli links. You're a Middle East scholar. Are you surprised to see this company, NSO, whose founders, according to the Washington Post, are former members of Israel's elite unit 8200, which conducts electronic surveillance, is analogous to the U.S. National Security Agency, to see it working with repressive Arab governments like Saudi Arabia, like the UAE, helping them surveil democracy activists and scholars such as yourself?
Yes, absolutely. That is correct. And I came across this information in 2016, and after the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, when I first encountered NSO Group. And it is part of the privatization of security that has taken place around the world, and specifically in Israel. Let's not forget that the founders of NSO had been trained in the Israeli Army Defense Force. They could have been Mossad agents, and they're allowed to set up these private companies. So it is this privatization of security that is leading to this proliferation of malicious software and techniques.
Yes. Just to be clear, there's no evidence that the founders of the NSO were Mossad agents, but they are linked to, as I said, the Washington Post and others are reporting that they were members of Unit 8200, the signals intelligence part of the Israeli defense establishment. Madawi Al-Rasheed, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for your insights, and please do stay safe.